Hello and welcome to JRock's Babylon. I am your host, Jason JRock Houston, and our guest today is a good friend of mine, Drew Cagle. I've interviewed a few times before in the past. This first time for JRock's Babylon. This is something I've launched just in 2025, so we're really great to be welcoming you here today. Drew, how you doing?
Not too bad, man. Thanks for having me back. I appreciate it.
Yeah, now, of course, most people know your album Bad Attitude, which is on the screen. People are going to experience this is going to be a Zoom interview like you've never experienced before. That's one of the fun things I always enjoy about interviewing you, Drew. You do like this, a little different, but it's a lot more interesting too than just kind of, having your name on the screen and no picture, So I dig that you get a little creative that way.
Yeah, man. We're talking about the album and we're talking about, themes from the album and stuff that inspired where the music comes from. So I think it's a cool thing to where the fans can visualize the album and see the album cover so they know exactly what we're talking about and kind of the message that I'm trying to put across.
Yeah, technology, and that is really amazing. I mean, we wouldn't have been able to do this a few years ago. Even just a Zoom call like this. You in another city and me here. And I just love technology. Talking about the visual though, Megadeth just came out with a new album. I didn't get the chance to see it, but the night before their album came out, they had like a little premiere of a theater of like, some of the songs, and I guess the band was talking about. Metallica did something similar a couple years back, and I remember going to a Metallica one. I never really experienced something like that, and of course, Metallica's got the money to do it, but I thought, that would be like a new way of premiering, your album. And I kind of dug it, because it was so different.
Yeah, things like that are really cool. I mean, there's a lot of my friends, a lot of artists, do like listening parties and stuff like that, whether the week before the album comes out or, or the night the album comes out or something like that, where they all get together, maybe do like a little jam session on some of the new songs, and they or show their most dedicated fans, the new album before it comes out and stuff like that. I always think that's a cool thing because the album's about making memories. So when you have the opportunity to, you know, make make a memory on the night the album comes out, or make something additional for the fans that isn't just going through your 1 cents through ears. When you can see people get things that you don't necessarily always get uh, at a normal show. When you get anytime you can do anything special for the fans, it's something cool. So I hope we can start doing stuff like that, hopefully in the future as well.
Yeah, and I know the reason you go down doing these interviews is because, as we said, this is 1 year anniversary of the album Bad Attitude, and you're kind of celebrating that. Now, I remember when the album came out, and I talked to you last time. The album's getting a lot of buzz, and it has been a year, so people had a year to live with it. And I think what's great what you're doing is, people kind of forgot about the album. And I think you need to, every once in a while go out there and remind them because it really is a great album. Um, Drew, so talk a little bit about your decision to, 1 year later, still be out there celebrating this.
Oh, well, thank you for the kind words. I'm glad that people haven't forgotten about it.
Yeah.
Man, we've had such a great year since this album came out, and had so much momentum going forward with it. And we've only really pushed what three or four singles, and it was one of those things that we every time you wrap a year, January comes around, you're like, okay, let's reset and figure out what this year is going to hold. And that was it was the beginning of the year came around, and I was sitting there and I was looking at the album, and I'm getting ready to go back into the studio as well. And I just made the decision. I was like, I don't think we're done with this album yet. I think there's still songs on this record that haven't seen the light of the day yet, or
Yeah.
gotten the push that they should have yet. That maybe they've only really been ever promoted in a live setting, and I haven't really. I purposely had a couple of these songs that I've kept kind of close to chest and not really promoted much, for the sake of, in the next year or the next couple months, we can continue to push a couple songs that maybe people don't necessarily recognize as the big singles from the record, like All Figured Out and Bad Attitude and She Said. And, maybe shoot a new music video, maybe get some fresh eyes on a different perspective from the record.
And who knows? I mean, you got it's an 8 song release, and so you got. I mean, how cool would that be if every song had a video or something like that? In fact, I went on your YouTube page and I was just totally amazed. Like you're talking, there's some live performances. And as well, like I see one of the things said like perform live for the first time. So that's pretty cool that you're getting to premiere some of this stuff for the first time. People are just kind of finding out about it.
Yeah, and the thing about the internet that you were kind of talking about earlier is for some people, whether if you're joining our journey, today or yesterday, or if you join it 1 year from now, no matter what we post, sometimes it's always has a very strong chance to be the first time someone hears something. I still get people messaging me saying that they heard All Figured Out for the first time, just this week. And
Yeah,
it's like,
wow.
well, I released that back in 2024, and I wouldn't even be where I am today if it wasn't for that song. And so it's really cool that people are still discovering it. It's just now you see so many different fans at different pieces of the journey when it comes to us, and I think that's really exciting. And that kind of is what you know made me think, man, we should give, if we have the opportunity, like you said, let's give every song on this record a fair shot. Um, and and not only that, I agree. I think it's every artist's dream to be able to shoot a music video for each single, right? Every song you come out with, you want to let your artistic vision be shown in the clearest way and the most extravagant way that you can for the fans. But unfortunately, budgets and other things and tour schedules and
For
stuff
sure.
sometimes get in the way of that. But man, if I get the opportunity to expand on any of these songs, especially the songs from this record that are just so, every single song on Bad Attitude has its own personality and has its own different feeling that could be interpreted in so many different ways. So with a record this rich, um, it any chance I can to dig and dive deeper into really what's underneath these songs, I'm always happy to.
Oh, sure. And of course, the title track, Bad Attitude, I know that features Tracy Guns on there. You want to talk a little bit about getting him to play on the track? Was he in the studio with you? Did he do his part at home and send it in? Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so Tracy was a really cool surprise. It was I had we'd almost finished the record. I think all the other songs on the record, except for the title track, was finished,
Wow.
and we were kind of stuck on the title track. We were trying to figure out what was going on with it, and it just felt like it was missing something. And we did a couple shows with LA Guns, and when we did the show with LA Guns, we opened the show with that song. And Tracy ended up coming up to me afterwards at the end of the run and was like, "Hey man, I really like that song." And I was like, "Well, that's a great thing that you mentioned that because I'm stuck on it right now, and we don't have a solo laid down or anything. If you're interested, I'd love to see if you'd be willing to lay something down." And he's like, "Yeah, man, that was the end of the tour run, so he went back to LA and I went back to the Midwest, and I sent him the track, and within a couple days, I mean, he wasn't home long. He immediately sent this masterful lead guitar track and just did what Tracy does. It felt like he just plugged it in and just played all over it and just sent it back, and it was exactly what the song needed. And so, whenever people ask me, what was missing, I always say that's what it was. It was just missing Tracy
That's
Guns. So
amazing, because I've always believed been a big time fan of his from since the inception of LA Guns, and I always felt he's very underrated. Doesn't get the dues that he should. And finally, I was so happy to see that the Metal Hall of Fame this year, honored him.
yeah, man. I mean, he deserves every bit of it. Guys like that, um, at that level. I mean, he's such a humble guy for the talent that he has in him and stuff. And I mean, I mean, he means a lot to me just for the fact of a no-named kid asking you to play on your record or
Well,
play on his new
I don't
record,
even
and
know if
then
it's fair to say you asked him. I mean, the fact that he came up, to you after the show, Drew, and said, I love that song. He took the initiative. I mean, most guys in his position might not have even, bothered to do that. But again, it's cool what he came up with and that he put his extra little kind of, finesse on the song. So is it all Tracy playing on the song, or do you play any of the guitar
so
on the song?
no, so it was actually Tracy. The only stuff that Tracy's doing on that is all the lead licks.
Okay,
Which, to be fair, is all over the entire track. So
sure, sure,
he's
sure,
still
yeah.
doing a lot of the heavy lifting. But no, I had my studio band for that. The same guys who played on the rest of the record because I wanted the feel to be the exact same. I just wanted to feel like it was featuring Tracy.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so it's got a Shannon Forrest from Toto on drums,
Wow.
Craig Young from Post Malone's band, and he's played with Elton John on bass. Guitar players, Sam Hunter, who's played with Willie Nelson, um, and Saul Littlefield, which he's he's the man as well. He plays guitar on it as well, and has played with everyone from Jelly Roll to Cole Swindle to
Oh,
Luke
wow.
Combs
Wow.
to all those top 40 stuff. So yeah, it's a very much a super group type album.
Yeah, wow. And I understand the album was recorded in Nashville. That must have been quite an experience for you.
Yeah, yeah, and that's kind of where I got all the guys together for it too. So, I mean, that was awesome. Nashville is a super cool place to visit and a cool place to bring your
I
music
mean,
to.
people think of it as a country music capital, but it's becoming the rock capital as well. A lot of the 80s rock guys that are retiring and moving there.
Well, yeah, well, it was kind of funny. Whenever I went into the studio to record the record, I thought the same thing. I was young and naive, and I was like, oh, it's gonna be a bunch of country artists playing on the record. They're not gonna be able to, play
Yeah.
rock and roll. And it was really. I remember my producer Matt Coles, in his infinite wisdom, just kind of sat me down. He's like, hey man, you got to understand, anyone who's ever picked up a guitar or who's played the drums is a fan of AC/DC and Guns N' Roses.
Sure.
You don't pick up the guitar if you're not playing those iconic riffs. You're not gonna play drums if you've never played the Paradise City beat.
Yeah.
It's stuff like that, and then when you get into the studio with these guys, um, that really shined through because those guys are just sitting there making country records all the time.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
then I come in here and I'm like, all right, let's turn the amplifiers all the way up. Let's let it loose. Let's do a bunch of crazy stuff. And I want you to show me why you guys are the best. And I want to highlight you guys. I don't want you to feel like you're the backbeat or the background of some country song. I want this to be a rock band. And all their eyes lit up and they all got really excited. And man, they just absolutely tore it up and tore the house down. And we recorded the majority of the record. We got it all done in one day.
Oh, wow. That's really amazing. Talk about dedication, and craftsmanship. I mean, that reminds me of James Lomenzo, who's the bass player in Megadeth. He used to be in White Line, but I bring this up because over years he's played also with John Fogerty, and he talks about like people coming up to him saying, "Hey, you're a metal guy. What do you play Megadeth? What are you doing playing with John Fogerty?" And his attitude's like, "Well, first of all, it's a good paying gig, so why not take it if you can get it?"
Yeah.
And you know, so what if I'm, in a metal band? I can do more. I'm more of just a one trick pony.
Absolutely. And the majority of great musicians, they're in love with the craft. They're in
Yeah,
love with their instrument. They're in love with music. It doesn't matter what the genre is. And music it's spawned out of feelings. I mean,
sure.
that's the very trivial um, part of music is it's based out of feelings. And we're humans. We don't have the same feeling every day, all day. You have a bunch of
Yeah,
different feelings. Life is a roller coaster ride of feelings.
sure,
So
sure, sure.
that's where all these different genres come from in music. It's different feelings that you have at different times and how you communicate them with people. So to tell a musician, or to put a musician in a box
Yeah,
saying
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like literally like telling them you're a square, you have no feelings, you're
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Really. And what's interesting is the album's got 8 songs on it, and I typically think of like a full length album, like 9 or 10 songs, maybe a little more. But what's interesting is the fact that I mean, eight songs is pretty much a full length album. I get it, but I don't know why, but it seems like it's a full length album. You know what I mean? But because each of the songs really kind of all 8 songs are really strong, is my point, and they really stand out. And I think as an album, as a whole, it really just, they sound like they fit on the same album. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I mean, here's the thing. I get very obsessive when it comes to um,
Writing.
writing and the album and just every aspect of it. What's the right amount of songs to put on the record?
Yeah.
What is the right order to do it? And you got to just go back to the basics. Like, what's the in if you think of what's a great album, one of those
Yeah.
no skip albums. 'Cause if you do a 15-song album, there's going to be some songs skipped, and
Sure.
that's
Sure.
not because any of them aren't, or because some of them aren't great or anything like that. But people's attention spans are gone, and
Yeah. Yeah.
so you want to come out swinging with everything you can with the least amount of filler,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the album that does the best to that for me is Boston's Boston. And
Yeah. Oh,
so, I mean, that's an 8-song record, and it's one of those ones that when it's done, it leaves you wanting more. And so that's where you find the sweet spot with it, and that's where I found it with this album too, because I
I
was
think
like,
you're. I think you're so right. I mean, you've hit the nail with the hammer. I mean, I guess the point I'm trying to make is I'm an old school guy. Back in the day, bands would put out like a full length album, where a modern thing to do now is maybe a lot of bands will put out like a 3 or 4 song EP. And as good as some of those EPs may be, I'm always, like you said, left wanting more. I'm like feeling a little let down. Like, whereas with your album, it's like I don't feel like I'm missing anything. I feel like I'm getting the full package. You know what I mean, Drew?
yeah, man, it's that it like I said, it's the sweet spot between man, I wish
Clenching
there
too
was
little. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I wish there was. I just wish there was one or two more songs that could give me this feeling that this other thing had, but also at the same time, where some other people might have the feeling is like, man, that was perfect. That wasn't, that
Yeah.
wasn't too much. That wasn't too little. That was exactly, the journey that I wanted these 8 songs to take me on. And ultimately, whenever you're putting together a record, it's never about the amount of songs you put on it anyway. It's
No.
about the
No.
journey that you put
Yeah.
them on,
Yeah.
and how you're able to do that. So just for this specific record, that was what felt right. And
Yeah.
and there were plenty of songs written in the period of time that sound like they would be perfect on the Bad Attitude record. Songs that it's kind of funny. I deal with now. Figuring out, do they fit on another record? Do they fit on a new
Yeah.
record,
Yeah.
or do they not because
Yeah.
they were kind of closer to the Bad Attitude feeling? And do we start a new feeling? Do we start a new message and stuff like that when we go to a new album? And that's kind of the stuff that I'm digging into now. So I'm excited to see where that all
And,
goes.
and Bad Attitude really does have an attitude all its own as an album. I mean, what's interesting is it's a cross section of like, it's got kind of Cheap Trick meets, I hear a little bit of, like you said, Boston, Guns N' Roses, a little bit of everything. What's interesting is you got a little bit of a blues feel to some of the songs, but at the same time, they're really more lean towards rock, if you know what I mean. But it's got a little bit of blues in it, and yet, like what's interesting is I was listening to the song Wine Talking. Now, it's one of my favorite tracks off the album. It's the final song on the album. What's interesting is it starts off, and I'm thinking it's almost got a sound kind of like a ballad, but then it really gets a major kick, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And you take us on that musical journey. It's a different place than where I thought we were going to go, but I'm still happy at the end of the journey.
I'm one of those guys that my favorite parts on every single record I ever listened to, my favorite song. I mean, for the majority of the time, there's obviously exceptions, but the last song on the record I've always thought is the most important song on the record, the first and the last.
Yeah,
And so, it's how you introduce the message and how you wrap up the message. And I mean, Wine Talking was one of those songs that very much could have been the lead single of the record and could have been the first thing we came out with. But it was one of those things that I was like, this is the perfect song that has to wrap up this whole message and wrap up this vision. So I'm glad you like that one. That's another one of those songs that I was kind of mentioning. We haven't really promoted almost at
I mean,
all, and so
yeah, it's funny. Tomorrow's Valentine's Day. That's almost maybe a Valentine's Day type of song. I don't know when you at least play on
I don't
Valentine's.
know if it's not love might be a closer one for us, or
No,
hell,
there you go. I guess like yeah, it all depends on your taste. But
yeah.
White Talking too. That's what I wrote. It's a bit of rock and blues. It's almost a ballad. Again because it starts off a little soft, but then it really kicks in. And in fact, I would say a better way to describe it is it's an epic song.
Oh well, thank you, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, not to sound egotistical, but I remember when the end of I remember when I wrote the song, and I was I was in college and I was sitting there. It was the middle of the night. It was one of those songs that come to you in the middle of the night and you can't sleep
yeah,
until you write it. And so I was sitting there. I'm alone in my apartment in college, and I wrote it, and I sat there and I was like, holy crap, this might be something here. And then
yeah.
it took a while, and then we got it into the studio, and I got my buddy B James Lowry to play on it, and he laid down that just incredible guitar solo in the back half of it. And I just remember we were all sitting there. It was one of those things that once the record button goes off, the whole room is kind of silent. We all look around at each other and we're like, well, that didn't suck, So that was one of those cool moments. And you were talking about all my different influences and all the different things that you
Yeah.
hear when you listen to the record. Uh, someone did a review of the album when it first came out or around that time, and they used the quote. I think it was something like "Bad Attitude feels like a love letter to the golden age of rock and roll." I think was how
Oh,
they
I like. Oh, that's
was
one of
how
my
they
all-time
said it.
favorite Mott the Hoople songs. I love that.
Yeah, and so they said that, and I thought about it, and I was like, you know what, that might be the perfect, um, kind of the perfect explanation of the record. It kind of is a love letter to everything I'm a product of, everything in rock and roll,
Yeah.
everything around it, everything influenced it, the blues, even modern music and stuff like that. It's pretty much just a love letter to rock music and to the way I feel that music should have evolved into.
Wow. Wow. And they always say, you have your whole life to write your debut album. I mean, in fact, by the time you go and record, you've lived half of this stuff. Stuff you've actually lived through, and you've had these songs laying around, and finally get a chance to um, record it. Now, another one I really loved was "Live Right." Now, that what I loved about it is I'm not really sure what the song's about, Drew, but it kind of it's telling people kind of like to do the right thing in the sense you don't come across as like preachy, but for example, my golden rule, in my life has always been like I do my best to be good to people, try to treat people at least how I want to be treated, unless they give me a reason not to. But
Yeah.
I don't live to really hurt anybody, if you know what I mean. And so it's kind of a song I like. Hey, do what's right. Do what you know it's right.
And that's kind of one of those things that makes the music beautiful. It
Yeah,
is I can write something in a certain frame of mind, and the lyrics that I write at a certain time, I can mean them a certain way, and they
yeah,
could be interpreted and mean something so different to so many different people. Whether it be in a good way or sometimes misinterpreted to a bad way, but it's kind of funny to see. I guess not funny, but I guess it's more inspiring to see how simple lyrics that I can write can be interpreted in so many different
yeah.
ways and
Exactly.
mean different things to so many people. So I mean, if there's a song that I can write that makes someone feel like hey, maybe pick yourself up, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's
It,
one of those songs that it's like yeah, there's good days and bad days, and the
sure.
best thing you can do is try to live right and live whatever the way you think is the right way, and try to be a good person, stuff like that. And none of us are Uh,
superhuman. Yeah, we're none of us are
yeah,
flawless. Yeah, yeah.
exactly.
And
So
and
yeah,
it's a great thing if you can like write a song like you said, Drew. And a lot of times people's interpretation is based on their own life experience, what they lived through.
very
Uh,
much,
yeah.
and what they're going through at the time.
Oh, sure, sure. And now I was curious, talking a little bit about the internet, the power of internet. You said you haven't had a huge chance to play out live, so where you played out live has primarily been in the U.S., right? Is there any hope of taking this overseas? Have you had any thoughts to that?
Yeah, I mean, we get a lot of offers
Yeah,
to do that, and it's one of those things that to to leave the country. Um,
I get,
I know we have fans all across the world because
yeah,
they send me messages
sure, sure,
and stuff like that, and I send out CDs and stuff to them all the time. Uh, but it's one. It's got to be the right offer. It's got to make
sure,
sense.
sure, sure.
We can't we can't go all the way to Europe just
Yeah,
for
you're not Bon Jovi. I get it. Yeah,
one show or one festival. We got to have a whole run or something.
yeah, yeah.
And then at the same point of it, you know, I want to make sure everyone around us can hear the songs first
Sure, sure.
before I expand too much. I don't want to set my sights so big that my neighbor doesn't know the song.
Sure, sure. And it's got to be a
And
great feeling. My point in all this is to stop and think that people are playing your music, people are checking out your CD in parts of the world where you haven't even stepped in foot in. That's got to be pretty amazing feeling.
it was yes. It's been a wild ride, man.
Yeah.
I mean, we just did 3 months on the road with Buck Cherry last year,
Oh, wow.
and so that was kind of in support on the Bad Attitude tour, and when we joined them for 3 months and went all across the U.S. and to states and cities I never stepped foot in my life,
Wow.
some that I didn't even know existed, and I'm so glad that I do now because we went to some of these shows and there are people uh, that are singing the songs, and I'm sitting here like, how in the hell do you
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
the lyrics to these songs? If I've never shown you them, because up until um, probably up until the end of promoting our Haunted EP, the release before Bad Attitude, the majority of the people that had to know our music had to have been shown by me,
Sure,
or
sure.
by our own promo or something. There was some trail back to how they were able to find the songs, and
Yeah.
so we got to a point here that around the Buck Cherry tour and around after All Figured Out went out, that there were people singing the songs. They knew the songs. They were showing up in t-shirts and stuff like that, and uh, it was just very unexpected, and it's really cool to see. I mean, every songwriter wants to see someone else sing their song back to them in the
Oh,
crowd
yeah. Oh,
with
sure. Yeah.
joy on their face, right? And
Sure.
so I mean that's I on the Buck Cherry tour we just went as a songwriter. It was a dream. I mean, we did we did shows where people were singing the songs back to us. We did shows where people were crying during
Wow. Wow.
some of
That's
our
amazing.
more
And
emotional songs and stuff like that. And I remember a couple conversations I had with the people um, who I did see were crying in one of our songs, and they came up and they apologized. I was like, don't ever apologize to me for that. Music is about emotion. It's about
wow.
helping us process emotions, and I believe the right song finds you at the right time.
Yeah, yeah.
So, if this is the song that found you, if tonight was the night that this song needed to find you, and it found you, then that's my life's work. So that means that all the shit I've been through in the last 10 years to make this album come out, to make anything come out, and all the promotion and stuff like that, it's all worth it if I can help one person. So
That's
then
amazing.
anything after that is just bonus.
Drew, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're signed to Pavement, is that correct?
Yes, yeah.
And they got a great little label. I think they're really great at promoting their artists. So I think that may be a reason why, besides your beautiful music, in its own right. But I think that when you have a label like that, and they do their best to promote this stuff. I think it gets out there a little more, than maybe it would otherwise.
Well, I mean, yeah, pavement's definitely helped us a lot along the way. I mean, it was kind of funny. It was. I think it's a bit of both. I mean, all figured out had hit number one before we ever signed with
Well,
Pavement.
yeah, because let's be honest, if the album sucked, people wouldn't be buying it. So like I
Yeah,
said,
yeah. So, and it's one of those things that labels. The very simple thing about labels is they're not bringing anyone on until there's legit buzz
they see
behind
the
them.
numbers, then they get
Or no,
really.
yeah, yeah, or some numbers, yeah. So if that's not there, they're not picking up the phone call. But I mean, now that we were able to get to the point and all figured out, my amazing team that I had on that single helped us get to the point where all these people are coming in, and Pavement wanted to get on board, and uh, hell, we had festivals getting on board, and then Buck Cherry inviting us out on their tour and stuff like
Sure.
that. So I mean, it's one of those group efforts that as long as the engine is still running and you're still grinding and you're
Yeah,
still
yeah.
still trying to get the music out to people, um, just keep going
Yeah, but
and
proof is
never
in the
stop,
pudding.
right?
I mean, it's a year later, we're still talking about the album, so I think that's really something special right there. Now, you of course come from Illinois, which is known mostly for being the blues capital of the world. So um, I'm sure that's where you kind of got your blues influence from. But talk a little bit about coming from a place like Illinois. That is there much of a rock community there?
um, there is a lot more of one now
Okay,
than there was when I got started. So I'm happy to be able to say that now.
that's great.
But
Yeah, and you can
if
be
you,
part of it. Yeah,
yeah, man. When I first got started, I don't know if I ever told you this story, but the band got its name, the reputation, based off of when I first got started in the local scenes around the area. And so it was. I'm from a very very small town in Illinois called Fisher, and there's about 300 people here. It's me and a bunch of
it
cornfields.
could fit up it could fill up a club you play, right?
Yeah, very very much so. If we got everyone in the town, we could get about close to a sellout.
Wow,
And then
wow.
so when it first got started, I went to the next major town, and just as a passionate young kid who wanted to play my original music for people. I just came out and I was like, I got all these songs I want to play them for people. I want people to hear what I have to say, and it was shot down pretty hard. it
Wow,
was
wow, wow.
it was one of those things that the whole town was very much run by cover bands and a cover scene, and all the cover bands owned all the bars and clubs and every chance you can to get your music in front of people, and they weren't having any new authentic ideas in the town. And so people started to say that I was hard to work with, and I had this reputation about me that I was not doing things the right way, and just small town BS. and
Wow,
and
wow.
uh,
Can't
I
imagine.
ended I ended up saying I ended up just leaning into it, and I had enough, and I was like, you know what, if you're gonna say I have this reputation, I'm gonna put it up on the marquee. And what's gonna happen
Wow.
here
I
is if
dig
you're
that.
gonna yeah, and then you're gonna
You
have
know
to come
what?
see
That's
for
where the bad
yourself.
attitude comes from, man.
Yeah, no, that's what if you listen to the lyrics in that song, the title track, it's very much Corley right off of that. And
Oh, wow.
so it was one of those things that I was pretty much like, hey, you're gonna have to come see for yourself. When I'm playing here at this night, you're gonna come see. There's going to be two things present. It's going to be me, who I really am, and then my reputation that you think I am. And so you're going to have to come see the show for yourself and see if
Well,
I'm
it's
this
a
musician or this
matter of
worst person. Yeah.
giving the people what they want, Drew. And you seem like you're doing it. I want to thank you for coming on tonight, Drew. It was great catching up with you. Love to have you back. Like I said, the interview will be going up tomorrow morning, so I'll be sure to send you the link so you can share and all that. But thanks for coming on, and we should let people know what the the latest single is. I believe you think you've heard everything. So you want to let people know where they can check that out?
Yeah, man. Thank you for having me. And yeah, so the new single is "You Think You Heard Everything." It's off the record "Bad Attitude" that came out about a year ago. It's kind of a bit of a reprise, kind of from All Figured Out, the original single that we released. It's pretty much talking about many of the things that we talked about here. Kind of
Okay.
kind
Yeah.
of calling out people who maybe necessarily think rock and roll is dead, or that they've heard every great rock song, and that
I well,
all we
not
need
just
is
yet.
yeah, that if it's one of those cheeky responses of, if you think so, you really think you've heard everything. And so this is kind of one of those tracks that sets out to take your attention and give you a little bit of some shock.
The
uh
final question for tonight, Drew. Do you think we'll get a follow up maybe next year?
New record.
Yeah.
um I can't I can't confirm or
Still,
deny it.
still yeah.
I will say this. My friend Michael Sweet from Striper sent me a message at the end of last year, and said he was starting a foundation called Faith in Music Foundation,
Okay.
and it is a foundation for young up and coming rock artists, or a young up and coming artists in general, original artists that want to get their music and their voice out there, that don't necessarily have um,
Backing. Yeah.
all the backing or all the opportunities that they should. And he had said, we're starting this for our first year here in 2026, and we want you to kind of be the head of it.
Oh wow.
And or be one of the first people to go take these grants and make something with it. So I wasn't planning on going back into the studio for a while, but Michael Sweet pretty much called me up and said, "Get your ass back in the
Well,
studio."
thank you,
So
Michael, and we'll have to
yeah,
have you come back and talk about that. I'm gonna have to let you go, but Drew, thanks, because I'm getting ready to cut us off. But thanks so much, and we'll have you back. I promise.
absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Take care.
You
Bye
too.
bye.